I taught over Zoom during COVID, during the first months of it a couple of years ago. Arielle put it together. We were all trying to give little 15 to 30-minute demonstrations of something we knew. And I was trying to teach a few projective geometry theorems and also how to make parabola, hyperbola, ellipse, etc. Hope you like it. And so having a geometry theorem here or there that's cool, it's a good thing. So anyway, I'm trying to promote my subject tonight. Geometry is something to take your mind off something else, so you fully get engaged, and it also makes a kid go, ooh, he's a cool guy. Or anyway, he's a cool person. So Pappus, around 300 AD, I think it must have been known long before that. Pappus's theorem, you can see I spelled hexagon wrong and then I corrected it. Maybe you can't see that. But these guys back then in ancient Greece, they were just sitting around and playing with drawings and coming up with everything they could possibly do because they really thought there's got to be a God, and how does God talk to us? Well, he talks in the clouds, and he talks in geometry, he talks in music. So anyway, someone figured out that any two lines, that's the first thing about projective geometry, is there's no measurement and there's no angle. It's simply broad statements. Any two lines, so it has to be on a plane, of course. There's a limitation there. Any two lines. If you do a hexagon, now what's that? It's any 6 straight lines which 3 of the points are on one line and 3 of the points on the other. It's a hexagon if they connect when you're done. So this is a random one here. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I number them back to 1. The theorem involves opposite sides intersecting, and so you say, what is the opposite side of a hexagon? And so I made a little picture showing one to remind you. 1, 2 is opposite 4, 5. So if you connect side 1, 2 with side 4, 5, they intersect there. And then if you connect side 2, 3 with side 5, 6, it intersects there. And if you connect side 5, 6 with, where was I? It intersects there. There's a theorem that no matter how you draw your two lines and no matter where you put your 6 points, and they could be in any, it could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter how you order them. If you intersect opposite sides, they will intersect each other in a straight line. And that's kind of weird. It's kind of bizarre. And you start to wonder, what happens if the two lines are parallel? Or what happens if, so you start getting into these broader concepts. Well, if the two lines are parallel, and then what if the lines you're drawing are straight up and down? Maybe you have to start thinking of these ideas, well, they're intersecting at infinity in that direction or in that direction. And so you start getting these larger concepts of what does infinity look like and what happens there? Is everything the same there as it is over here? And so this is the beginning of projective geometry 2,000 years ago. I bring it up because of, so you remember the opposite sides. I'm very fortunate Barbara was recording this Zoom session for me. I thought the Zoom session might have been recorded, but it wasn't. Anyway, so we have these little breaks because, I don't know, maybe she turned the thing off and then turned it back on again. So I'm sorry for the breaks. If there's anything important that we missed, I'll make sure I put it in. The straight line that happens, the intersection does not happen always between the two lines you made. It could be anywhere. So as long as you follow side 1, 2 intersecting side 4, 5, for example, you're going to get this Pappus line, if you want to say that, which is pretty cool. That's already a cool theorem you can show a kid. And I never knew that in my education. This came up only as a Waldorf teacher and then looking into projective geometry. Projective geometry was big at the same time that Descartes and his geometry became big. But the Cartesian geometry that we all had in high school, that was the moneymaker. That's where you could solve problems. This is more just, wow, this is interesting. It doesn't really have any money behind it, so it didn't really catch on, I think, in the Western world. A fellow named Pascal, when he was 16, he was very precocious. He discovered a corollary to that. He said, hey, you know what? This works with circles too. If you draw any hexagon in any circle and you intersect, for example, side 1, 2 with side 4, 5, you're going to get, etc. You're going to get a line, and he was able to name it after himself, the Pascal line. It works with any circle, no matter how you put up your points. And the line may not occur within the circle. Again, it could be way out here, depending on how you set this up. And even with these 6 particular points, there's probably 60 ways of numbering them or going from one to the other. Anyway, the Pascal line, he then said this bold statement. He said, this works with any conic. And so you may not know what a conic was. The ancient Greeks had this picture of infinite cones that intersected, and a plane slices through them in different ways. If you slice through a cone perpendicular to it, you get a circle. If you slice through at a little bit of an angle, you get an ellipse. If you slice through at a very particular angle, you get a parabola. If you slice through this other way, you get 2 curves, a hyperbola. Those are conics. And those 2 straight lines turn out, if you intersect exactly through the vertex, you get 2 straight lines. Anyway, the Pappus and the Pascal, they're the same idea, grouping these shapes together. Why are conics together? They're totally together with this theorem. If I had a parabola here and I took 6 points on it and I did this hexagon, I would find a straight line resulting. And so we have to go, what is God trying to say to us? Why does he put these shapes together? Of course, we've discovered these shapes everywhere. The planets seem to go around the sun in ellipses. The parabola seems to be the shape that the cannonball takes when it goes through the air. They're very interesting shapes. You have them in front of you. Whenever you have a circular glass, it's an ellipse as soon as it's not, when you're not looking straight on it, that's an ellipse. So that's a conic section. So Pascal said this theorem works for every conic. And so here's the bare bones of this picture. And we're going to do this, and we're not going to start with a conic. We're going to start with the bare bones and make a conic. And so it's a pretty cool series of steps. We're going to try to see, this is the Pascal line. We're going to try to create that here in a way that will create, this will be an ellipse here. These points make an ellipse. It's hard to get a circle. A circle is a very particular ellipse. You can't quite get that by just randomly doing lines, but you'll get every kind of ellipse with this. So what do we need? We need lines, and let's label them so we can talk. And there's line L and line M. As far as you can say below that intersection, let's say A, down here lower than that, B, and here C. And Barbara wants me to know something, say something.
Are they following you now?
Are you following me now? She said.
Do you have pen and paper?
I have to ask. Well, I told them ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Barbara says you didn't tell them to get their pen and paper, but yes, did you all know that you have to have pen and paper today? Sorry. And of course, you needed some kind of straight edge, but you didn't need it. You could have just sketched this, and then later in your free time, you could have worked on this. So what crossing of 2 lines and 3 points? Right now, we're saying below that intersection. This is going to give us an ellipse, which is the easiest one to draw. But any conic can happen from this setup, depending on where you put A, B, and C and what kind of 2 lines you have. So here are the instructions. Go from A and intersect L. If you understand, the close line to A is L. And I'm going to use a green here. I'm going to take any line from A and touch L there. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes? That's step one. Step two, go across through B. From there, go across through B, wherever that happens to go. That was step two. Step three is from there, go to C. Those are the steps. And now where is the point on the ellipse that I want? I'm looking for a point on the ellipse. It's not here yet. Where it is, it's the intersection of your first line and your third line. It's down here somewhere. You have to extend your first line and your third line. And that is a point on your ellipse. It is pretty amazing that we're really just copying this thing. Here, this would have been A and C, and this would have been B here. And these are all lines. For example, here's the one we just did. It goes randomly there, it goes across through B, and it goes up here. And then you extend the two, and that is a point on an ellipse. These 2 points here, 1 and 3, come about when we aim right at B. If we go from A and we aim right at B, of course what happens is you hit L and then you go across through B to M and then you run up to C. Where will those two lines intersect? Sorry, where did I go? They intersect here. You guys don't have to draw sideways vertically. I have to. Sorry about that. So here is a unique point similar to this number 3. We just found this point 3. We can find this point 1 too by aiming at B from C. From C, aim at B, and you'll get this other point there. You don't even have to do this third line. You know that it will intersect there. That's the point on the ellipse. There's also easy points to find if you aim at C from A. If you simply go straight across, how does that work? What happens? You go to L. Of course, you're going to go down to B somewhere, and wherever that is, you're going to end up going up to C. But you know that this line from A will have to intersect the line from C right at C. So you see right away that C is a point on the ellipse. Similarly, if you aimed at A from C, you'll know that's a point on the ellipse. What about this one? Aim at it from A. What happened? Of course, you will go straight down to B and then straight up again to there and back to C if you follow the rules. So that must be a point on the ellipse. And so I want to show you what can happen if you take your time now. This is a bunch of lines from A randomly hitting L. That you can see close up. All these random lines from A hitting L, going through B, hitting M, going through C, looking for their intersections of their extensions, and you get this lovely ellipse coming out of it. That's lovely, right? That's great. How do you make an ellipse just from random, I'm going to do this intersected line, I'm going to do these 3 points? I never saw that in high school, never once. That's very cool. Now you say, well, I'm happy with ellipses. How do I make a parabola? Think about what you could do to those first lines that would make a parabola. A parabola has an element at infinity. You might remember from high school that the teacher always tried to get you to try to think, what's happening out there? How does it go? What happens way out there? You need the L and M lines to be parallel. This is the coolest drawing I think I've ever made in my life because you get a parabola out of it. I love making a parabola. It's a cool thing. How do you do it? How do you make a parabola, Mr. Mills? Oh, I've got a great method. This is great. So parallel lines, A, B, C, pretty much anywhere, and then follow the rules from A to L, from L to B to C, from that, look for the intersection of their extensions. What's cool about this is you have to constantly think, what's going on up there? Why is the parabola tilted? I thought it would be straight up these parallel lines here. Why wouldn't it be straight? Well, you don't know that parallel lines, even if there were 1,000 of them all marching out that way, they all intersect at the same one point at infinity. You get these facts about infinity if you stick with this stuff long enough. You get to speak authoritatively of what's happening at infinity. Well, all these parallel lines, they intersect at that same one point. And all these parallel lines intersect at that one point. And then you start talking about the line that they make at infinity, and that's a straight line. Even though it goes all the way around us, everywhere on that straight line, it is straight. It is a straight line, no matter that it goes all the way around. So you get these ideas. Yeah, so the recording now jumps to the end. So I'll show you the drawings we've been doing. There's the ellipse. There's the parabola. If A and C were more symmetrical about those parallel lines, of course, it would be more along them. This is a hyperbola. I hope you'll try this. So much fun. You see the A, B, C. This is one I didn't mark A, B, and C, but I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for watching. Have you be able to do that too. It is so cool. What a cool. It's kind of like a samurai warrior in full war dress. You know, it's just, he's completely ready for anything there. Anyway, that's my little presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions?
It's so cool.
Okay, good. Thank you, Arielle. This is fun.
Yeah, you make it extra exciting and magical
Anyway,
too.
good.